This past weekend, we had a triple header race weekend with Formula One in China, the Indycar series in Arlington, Texas for I believe the very first time, and both NASCAR Cup Series and O'Reilly Series racing in Vegas. There is indeed a burger in Vegas. We have a lot to unpack here from this past weekend. I am Jake. You are watching May in Motorsports, and let's get into it. We will probably start with today. Let's start with the O'Reilly series because that was, I think, the first race in the timeline of all the races. The O'Reilly series, I think, across the board provides the best racing in NASCAR. That car, they've been running the last handful of years. I feel like since like the late 2010s, 2020s, it performs good everywhere, whether it be a super speedway, a road course, a short track, intermediate track like Vegas. It always provides very competitive and compelling racing. The cars just seem to slip around and slide more than the Cup cars. I know the Cup cars have a wider tire and they don't have as much power on the bigger tracks as they used to, but I'll watch an O'Reilly series race. The cars just seem like they're moving around a lot more and they're maybe even harder to handle than the Cup cars. That's just what I've seen. But this race on Saturday for the O'Reilly series was pretty decent. A typical good Las Vegas race. Kyle Larson, really to no one's surprise, stole the show, won another O'Reilly series race, his first win of any sorts in NASCAR this season. He really wasn't running all that great, though. He was like 5th to 8th a lot of that day. On the long runs, his car really came to life. He had a really good restart late, just passed a bunch of cars on the outside. Gets the victory. Guys like Justin Allgaier and I would say Jussie Love, and especially those Haas factory cars ran really, really well. But ultimately, they were unable to beat Kyle Larson. There were a couple incidents in this race, nothing too crazy. Connor Zilisch driving that one car this week. He made a pretty big mistake, got into Jeremy Clemens, spun him around, giving both of them damage. I believe Connor Zilisch still got a pretty good finish, though. But not the start to the season Connor Zilisch wanted, man. His Cup Series side of things has not been going very good. And no really luck in the Busch Series either, or the O'Reilly Series. But yeah, it happens. And also there was this incident as well with Sheldon Creed and Taylor Gray pretty much fighting for, second or third place at the time. Taylor Gray tries the block going into the corner. Sheldon Creed's like, no. Hits the 54, turns him sideways, hits the wall, ruins Taylor Gray's day. Sheldon Creed apologized for the incident. Taylor Gray was not too happy afterwards. The way that I see it, I mean, Sheldon had the nose there. You know, I understand blocking, trying to maintain your position, trying to mess up the air for the guy behind you. But into a corner's a little bit sketchy. You know, Sheldon could have backed off, but it is late in the race. They are battling for position, valuable points. They're both going for the championship, so I'm on Sheldon's side. Next, we have, probably at a really weird time, I forget the time, I didn't watch it live again, was the Chinese Grand Prix at Formula One. Kimi Antonelli, 19 years old, gets his first Formula One Grand Prix win for Mercedes. I'm 23, and I'm not winning Formula One races. I'm not driving Formula One cars. I wish that could be me. But 19 years old, 19, becomes the second youngest Formula One winner in history. His teammate, who I believe won the first race at Australia, George Russell, came home in second. And to round out the podium for the first time with Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. It's great to see Lewis Hamilton back on the podium after over a year of driving Ferraris. That's great. Good for him. I believe Charles Leclerc finished 4th. However, this race did seem a little controversial. I am not an expert on Formula One by any means. I'm still trying to learn how the ins and outs. I just know going into this season there were regulations. So if you're a Formula One fan in the comments, please let me know, apparently these new regulations are causing a lot of issues. We saw 4 cars didn't even start the race today, but I think both McLarens didn't even roll off the grid with some mechanical issues or not meeting certain requirements. I forget what it was. Max Verstappen also had some issue that like costed him a good finish today because he didn't have much speed, and he had some, I forget what it was, like a mechanical failure or what it was, but his car basically blew up. To my knowledge, is it like kind of like the cars have more of like a power saving mode now? Like instead of just going all out legit, cars have to save some of their battery. So I've been noticing more overtakes, especially for the lead, like a lot of swapping for the lead back and forth, especially the two Ferraris today, or the two Ferraris on Sunday or Saturday night, whatever it was. They were swapping the lead a lot. The first race too, the Mercedes were battling a lot more battles for the lead than I've noticed in recent times. And I think that's a good thing on paper, but if they're not going 100% or just because like cars are having to purposely slow down to conserve the battery, I understand where Max Verstappen's coming from. It still makes it more entertaining, I will say, but it's kind of like modern day super speedway racing with all the fuel saving. People seem really upset about it, especially the Max Verstappen Glazers. But yeah, the regulations are not very popular, but congrats to Kimi Antonelli for winning his first Grand Prix. Well deserved. Cheers to many more. Then we get to Sunday during the day. We have IndyCar at Arlington. And we had... The race itself was pretty meh. Like, nothing really happened, but we had a great race-winning pass. Kyle Kirkwood sends it on Alex Palou, like the most dominant IndyCar driver the last 4 or 5 years, takes the lead away and pulls off a very good victory. For the first time in a long time, the points leader is someone who's not named Alex Palou. And for the first time ever, I believe the points leader is Kyle Kirkwood. Alex Palou comes home in second still, even despite struggling for his standards, he still brings it home in second. And then Will Power for Andretti, after a rough couple first weeks, brings it home in third for a nice podium finish. That pass for the win made the whole race for me. I was like, oh, it's going to be another Alex Palou win. I have no issue with Alex Palou. I just like to see a little bit of parity. 3 races, 3 different winners, and I think this year Kirkwood looks good enough to potentially put a fight to Alex Palou for the championship. It was going to be a good battle between Kirkwood and Palou all day, but Kirkwood's pit crew made a mistake early, sent him back, and then they made another mistake or a slower stop later, sending Kirkwood further back, but Kirkwood had such a good car, just good pace and good talent, that he drove Palou down. Marcus Ericsson was one of the other Andretti cars who won the pole and was competing for the win, but Andretti once again botched the pit stop and costed him several valuable seconds and was never able to get back to the lead after that. This was a very track position based race. It was arguably won and lost on pit road if it were not for Kirkwood having such a good car and just good pace in general. And let's get on to the Cup Series race at Vegas. Denny Hamlin gets career win number 61. Such an emotional victory with all the shit, excuse my potty mouth, that Denny Hamlin's gone through the last year and a half with FedEx backing out after 19 years of a partnership. His father just passing away in the house fire. All the lawsuit stuff he had to go through with 23XI Racing and losing the championship in 2025 in the most heartbreaking, arguably BS fashion. He was contemplating not racing for the first few weeks of 2026. And he said, I'm going to get back in that car. And he's right where he left off. Great speed all day. Qualified second. Came back from a speeding penalty. He likes getting his speeding penalties, Denny Hamlin. Gets the lead late. Drives through the field. Holds off a hard-charging Chase Elliott. Takes home career win number 61. Great, beautiful moment with his family afterwards. His whole family was there. His mother. And he's getting more cheers than boos now. He's become the sentimental favorite. The race itself was, good, but definitely since the next-gen car has been figured out by the teams, the racing at the mile and a half that was so spectacular and praised the first couple of years has definitely regressed a little bit. There still was passes for the lead, more than you could say the later Gen 6 days were. It was a little bit... It's getting more and more just average as the years go on. So if it were me, I would put the 750 horsepower that we have at all the smaller tracks on the Cup cars at these bigger tracks, but maybe next year. It was a Hendrick versus Gibbs day, though. All the Toyotas were fast. Bell, Ty Gibbs, another good race for Ty Gibbs. Chase Briscoe was also very fast, but he got 2 pit road penalties, sending him back. The 2311 cars again, Reddick and Bubba were consistently in the top 10. And then the Hendrick cars. After a rough first few weeks of the season, they put together a very good race. William Byron won a stage, led some laps. Kyle Larson was in the top 2 to 5 all day. Didn't get the finish, but still a very good day. And even Chase Elliott, on arguably his worst racetrack, was trying to take the fight to Denny Hamlin in those closing laps, was unable to do it. But yeah, let's go over the finishing order. Denny Hamlin not only gets the fastest lap of the race, but also brings home his first victory of the season. A Chevrolet has yet to win this year. But a very good start to the year for Denny Hamlin. I'm very happy for him that he still has not lost his mojo despite everything he's gone through. Congrats to Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott. I was a bit confused because towards that last run, he was catching Denny really, really fast. And I'm kind of surprised he never once tried ripping the top line. He was just kind of staying in the bottom lane in Denny's wake. And the car with clean air is going to be dumping dirty air on the car that is trying to pass you. So I was just confused why Chase didn't at least try the outside. Maybe his car wasn't good up there, but second place is nothing to be ashamed of. You know, he's going to be a factor. He's consistent. William Byron gets a third place. Very good day. I think he won stage 2. Bell, what is it going to take for Christopher Bell to finally get a Las Vegas win? He has come so close in the last handful of years, and he just can't do it, no matter how hard he tries. Ty Gibbs, top 5. I think it's his third top 5 in a row, if I'm correct. He came to play this year. Very good. I didn't mention the Fords before, but the best Ford team today, RFK. They have all 3 of their cars in the top 11. Chris Buescher, my boy Chris Buescher, finishes in 6th. Kyle Larson fell back on a bad pit stop, was not able to recover, finishes 7th. Chase Briscoe, despite having not 1 but 2 pit road penalties and was at one point 2 laps down, brings it home in 8th. Bubba Wallace, another top 10. Good for Bubba. I think he's back up to 2nd in points because Blaney, who was in 2nd, didn't have a good day. And then Brad Keselowski, half broken leg, top 10. Good for Brad Keselowski. I want to check something because I just realized something, that Tyler Reddick is not in the top 10. I think I could have sworn he got a top 10 finish. Ryan Preece, I mentioned all 3 RFK cars finished in the top 11. And Ryan Preece finishes 11th. I think Ryan Preece will be in the chase this year. Usually was pretty consistent last year. Off to a pretty good start this year. Austin Dillon, 12th place. I want to see Kyle Busch succeed, and I know he's struggling at RCR. I know the cars are not that good, but to be fair, Austin Dillon has been simply outpacing Kyle Busch. There's no secret there. I mean, it is Austin Dillon. It is like his grandfather's team, but I don't know. I would expect Kyle Busch to have more speed than Austin Dillon at least, but lately Austin Dillon's been the faster car. Tyler Reddick, Mr. 3-peat, gets his worst finish of the year in 13th. I thought he finished top 10. I could have sworn he was running top 10 most that day, faded late. Other notables, Ryan Blaney, 16th. I said that because he won last week. He didn't have winning speed today, shockingly. He was not the best Ford in the field. On one pit stop, he came down pit road, overshot his pit box. At the same time, a caution came out while he went a lap down because of pitting before anybody else. And he lost a lap, took the wave around, lost a lot of his spots. 17th and 18th I want to talk about here. Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez had a little post-race altercation. Chastain shoved Suarez. They had some contact on a couple different occasions today. I don't think any of them were intentional, though. But, you know, it looked like to me the first time on lap 2, Chastain came up into Suarez, just aggressive racing, though. Lap 2, like you want to get as many spots as possible. No harm, no foul. And then later in the race, Suarez kind of like slid up into Chastain. Inconsequential, though. Barely any contact. Chastain still got the pass made. Then under caution, after the race was over, Chastain ran into Suarez, like showing his displeasure. Then on pit road, Suarez is like, what the hell is that? Chastain shoves him. And Chastain said something along the lines like, you got fired, which is true because Suarez and Chastain used to be teammates for Trackhouse. Now Suarez races for Spire. That hurt, seeing two of my favorite drivers who have both been struggling get into an altercation like that. That hurt. To be fair, I mean, Suarez is running better than I thought at Spire. Spire has more speed than Trackhouse right now. And I think Ross is just fed up because Trackhouse is not giving him very good race cars. Trackhouse, across the board, their speed is not that good. Zilich and SVG had terrible days. We'll get to them in a minute. What a shame. But it is what it is. Hopefully, both those drivers. Suarez is basically in the chase. He's tied with SVG, but SVG has the tiebreaker. So Suarez, I'm confident Suarez can do better on the ovals than SVG, but we'll see. Eric Jones finishes 20th. Austin Cindric was 19th. He ran up front actually for a while, but I think similar to Blaney, if I'm correct, he got some sort of, I don't know if it was a penalty or he had some pit road mishap. I forget what it was, but he was up front the top 5-10 for a little bit. Riley Herbst 23rd. I call that up because usually it'd be 32nd, so I'll give him credit for that. Justin Allgaier filling in for the injured Alex Bowman brings it home in 25th. He hit the wall at one point, but he ran an okay race for subbing in. Nothing too bad. Kyle Busch 28th. Terrible day for Kyle Busch. Went a couple laps down early just off raw pace. Terrible. I feel so bad for him. But again, Austin Dillon's outpacing him, so yeah. Noah Gragson finishes in 30th. Josh Berry, last year's winner, finishes 31st. Not good returning to the track and the race you won at the year before. Connor Zilich was the one caution of the day that wasn't for a stage break. He, I believe, ran into Ricky Stenhouse trying to get to pit road, caused the caution. This was the caution that's trapped Blaney a lap down and caused the final round of pit stops to be under caution. I believe that was also the pit stop that Kyle Larson lost a bunch of spots. And last place finisher of the day was SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen. After being 5th in points, a terrible day like this, literally getting a single point drops him all the way down to 16th with a tiebreaker over Daniel Suarez for the last spot. He did make this great save early. That was a very nice save. Good job, SVG. He's got hands. His car was just bad. Trackhouse was just bad. But yeah, that is basically Las Vegas. If I had to rank this race on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a fat 6. A simple 6. While we did see good passing, 2, 3, 4 wide racing, overall, once it got a little bit strung out, kind of got it. Like, I was even dozing off a little bit. There was that one really good battle in the beginning of stage 2 with Bell versus 300 cars for like 10 laps when they were like side by side, a little bit of 3 wide action for the lead. That was cool. But just another race in the books, you know. Good old these weekends with like all these races, triple headers. It's a lot. I got to go like back, rewatch all of them, and then I got to get like certain clips to like highlights to show you what I'm talking about. So these bigger weekends is a lot more work, but I try to put more of an emphasis on the Cup Series race, but I want to also, at least somewhat recap the other races. That'll do it, though. That was the Vegas, Arlington, China review. Next week for the Cup Series, we go to Darlington. We're running the 750 horsepower short track package at Darlington. It kind of races like a big track, but it kind of also doesn't. I believe it's a triple header weekend for NASCAR. I think it's trucks, O'Reilly, and Cup. I don't think there's a Formula One race, and I don't think there's an IndyCar race, because IndyCar just had 3 weeks in a row. But yeah, I'm Jake. Thank you for tuning in today. I will be seeing you soon. I'm trying to make more videos outside of just race reviews. It's just been, I've had time restraints. I've been a little bit busy lately, but I want to provide more content. So I will do what I can. But stay tuned for more videos and Instagram posts. If you haven't seen my Instagram, I post a bunch of like just fun little NASCAR clips on there. Recaps, historical moments. Yeah. Have a good day. Peace, guys.